Hello, I'm Michael at Mountpac. Thanks for joining today. Today I'm going to be showing you how I replaced a bathroom sink um, from start to finish. And don't forget to like the video and then comment below if you have any comments or if you had anything that you want me to do a video on. I'll try to get those videos done and uploaded for you guys. And then also please subscribe to this channel and then share this video with those that might need this done in their house. Alright, thanks so much. I know you don't want to hear me talking anymore, so we'll get to the sink right here. Thanks. So here is the sink that I'm going to be replacing. Here are all the existing plumbing. As you can see, it's a pretty tight fit to put your hand up to take down or do anything with the hoses. First step is to turn off the water, disconnect the hoses from the valves, and then also disconnect the drain line from the wall. I was trying to get this sink out in one piece. However, I broke it, and so I just went with it and broke out the sink instead of taking it out in one piece. And as I was removing the sink, a couple of the tiles pulled up with it. And so I had to glue those back down after the sink was completely removed, which is not in this video because this is for the sink replacement, not the tile work. And then the new sink didn't quite fit, so I had to break away some of the existing tile. And I didn't have a tile cutter, and so I used just a pair of pliers, and it actually worked pretty okay. I mean, probably not as good as hand tile cutters, but it did the trick. As soon as I got all the tile removed from the edges, then I was able to get the sink ready to install. I installed the faucet onto the sink prior to install. It's just easier that way. And this actually faucet was extremely easy for install. It was really nice. I make sure everything's all squared away here. Then tighten everything up. Don't want the faucet to come loose off the sink there. What's nice is there's a black seal that helps water from getting into the bottom of the sink. Then I'm using some Teflon tape to put around the threads, so when the supply lines are installed, there's a nice good seal, and then no water leakage will happen. It's a little tight fit for the Teflon tape there. So after that, I'm going to get the hoses, install the hoses onto the pipes on the faucet right now before installing the sink. Just be careful when you're installing the sink to not touch any caulking or glue that you put down to install the sink properly. Alright, so after that's all done, I go over to the counter and I use some caulking to secure the sink. And I put a pretty good bead of caulking around the edge. And remember not to have the hoses touch the caulking. And I kind of move around the sink a little bit, just kind of really seat it and make sure it's in the right spot. And then I wiped any glue or anything that was squishing out of the sink right now, because that's not what I want. And then after the sink is installed, I put a bead of caulking around the perimeter of the sink, and then I use my finger to have a nice good bead around the sink. This is a 30-minute or 20-minute caulking, so it's going to set within an hour or so. I usually give it an hour or two before doing anything with it. I always like to have a piece of cardboard or paper or something like that because I wipe any excess caulking onto the paper instead of my hands or pants or anything. And then after that's done, I go down below and install the supply lines to the valves. The hot one was pretty easy to install. The cold one on this point was a little more difficult. I think just because the angle wasn't correct and it was a little tight. Sometimes I have to use a crescent wrench on the actual valve, and then I have to use the crescent wrench or wrench on the actual pipe, or excuse me, hose. But this complete job was actually one of the nicer ones that I've done. A couple times in the years I've been doing this, I've had one or two sinks that after I was all done, there was no leaks, and this was one of them. It was really nice. Okay, so there's the remaining parts and pieces of the faucet. Now I'm going to be using some plumber's putty to put on the upper portion of the drain, and I kind of put it, kind of mold it like a noodle, sort of, and not too fat, not too skinny, because I want to make sure that there's a good seal. Oftentimes, I really like it when it pushes out from the drain, so I can remove the excess, so I know it actually seals. So I put it around the drain insert there, and then take the black piece, push it up from the bottom, and then it screws the gold piece on top, kind of screws into that black piece. Make sure that the stopper hole is towards the back side of the cabinet. That's important to hook up everything later on. And this was nice because you could tighten up the drain, and then you could tighten up the black rubber gasket and screw on the bottom side. Now, after that's installed, you want to install the stopper hardware, and then after the stopper hardware is done, then you want to install the drain. For the stopper hardware, you want to make sure that you look at the manufacturer's recommendation and installation instructions and do it per those installation instructions. And then this one, there's 4 different fittings they have to tighten up. One from the drain, and then 2 on the P-trap, and then 1 that goes into the wall. And I usually tighten them up pretty good, making sure everything's nice and neat and sealed properly, that there's enough meat for them to grab onto. If not, I'd have to go and get some other different parts and pieces. After that's all done, I turn on the water, checking for any leaks. I usually make sure my hands are nice and dry, and then I rub my hand against any valves or any pieces of pipe or whatever underneath the sink that may have any drips or water damage. After that, I fill up the sink, and then once it's full, I release the stopper and I drain it, and that's how I make sure that the drain itself is um, leak proof, because with more pressure, that's when more water comes out. And this one was great. There you go. There's a finished product. Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to like and then subscribe to my channel, and then comment below for anything that you have. And thanks so much for watching. And I hope your project goes well. Have a great day.